Portland Regional Championships.
It has been such a crazy journey for this entire season, and honestly, Adam, just from the video itself and just from our two players sitting up there, the storylines write themselves. Michael Davidson, 11 day 2 placements this season, 2 top cuts, 1 regional final, looking to finally take that regional championships. But you're going up against what seems to be the North American final boss, Henry Chow. 3 regionals already underneath his belt, a 100% win rate in finals, and the true Gardevoird master.
This is a final boss for sure. Michael Davidson has to overcome such a powerful player, and Henry Chow is in the hunt for his 4th regional. I don't even know how this is going to go. You like to give a little bit of a nod to an underdog. Both of these players know each other, practice together, playing the same 60, and we'll see which player is going to be favored most by Gardevoird. The prizes will be the first deciding factor.
We're going to have tons of time, Adam, to really go through this list. But as you can hear the crowd reaction here, someone is not too happy. It looks like all 3 copies of Technical Machine Evolution prized here. Not what you want to see if you want to go a little bit faster here.
Dropped all of his CDs. They're scattered everywhere. Gonna have to go it alone. Gonna have to go at the regular strat of evolving into Kirlia, evolving into Gardevoird. If Henry Chow opts for a slower line of play, something being a little bit more respectful of the opponent, maybe Michael Davidson isn't going to get run over by an early aggressive line. We know that both players, alongside the TM Evolutions, are running a single copy of Rare Candy, so that could be the break factor here.
Big important thing to note out here, that both players are playing the same exact 60. They are both testing partners. They know exactly what each of their decks do here, but it is going to be just the Ralt and the pass on over to Henry Chow, who already has Secret Box in the hand too. Look, he's already moving, trying to put the pieces together here. We could Secret Box, go on in and grab our Arven and try and get Buddy Poffin set up, going for this Technical Machine Evolution. And just remember, Michael Davidson has to go the classic route unless he's going to be able to draw something like a Rare Candy.
Henry Chow said in an earlier winner's interview that Secret Box is the secret to this deck's success, and it allows you to take the perfect turn, whether it's in the early game, the mid game, or the late game. Henry Chow has so many options on the table, and here it is, Secret Box. Discards 2 Ultra Balls, and Professor's Research is going to search for the rest of this turn.
Going through on the first prize search here, as we saw, I know a lot of us were really focusing on a certain player's prize cards, but Drifloon is in the prizes over on Henry Chow's side, and a Kirlia as well. One of the Technical Machine Evolutions is prized, and an Arven, an Energy, and a Super Rod, so nothing too detrimental here, but we really do have this opportunity, Adam, to start getting set up with all that we need.
The ability to trade back and forth with single prize Pokemon, 2 prize Pokemon, manipulating damage with Monkey Dory means that once both players get established, things are going to get very complicated very quickly. Henry Chow's great at playing Gardevoird, has fought through thick and thin through some bad matchups, some even matchups, and has been enjoying some good matchups, but when it comes around to the mirror match, especially on the same 60, it could be any player's game. Michael Davidson starting off with just benching a routes, a very light start, and Henry Chow right across opening with Secret Box means that he's going to put his best foot forward.
Absolutely, and I think it's important to note here, while we're still doing our first deck search here, that Henry Chow has innovated Gardevoird throughout the season, right? Even including things like Zoroark EX to help with this draw as well. But here we go. We can see the Secret Box pull. So we're going to be able to pull an item, a tool, a supporter card, and of course that Stadium Artisan. Now, just as a reminder, this does also help Michael Davidson get back into the fray as well, too. He will be able to at least set up another Ralts along the way, but it's a matter of, will Henry just find everything he needs out of a hat like he kind of tends to do?
Yeah, I love this setup. You get the Buddy Poffin and the Artisan for another Pokemon. Arven can grab Earthen Vessel, so you have energy to fuel your Technical Machine Evolution, and the Buddy Poffin is going to grab Rellor and Ralts. Now, normally the Rellor was for the Wellspring Mask for the Zoroark, but in this matchup, it's also key to shut down Screamtail. I love that Henry Chow is taking this opportunity to set up the Evolution and get Rabsca into play.
Absolutely. Most of the time, right, we want to go on ahead and start throttling that energy into the discard pile as quickly as possible here. Henry pitching away the technical machine evolution there. Definitely meant to put an energy in there, but we're going to be able to start getting things forward here. Even the Monkey Dory as well, the free retreat and the attach for turn as well with the technical machine evolution. We're going to be seeing a Rapska and a Curlia in play. Great start for Henry.
Yeah, the Monkey Dory with the Darkness Energy attached, keeping your 2 prize Pokemon safe on the bench. Also pre-attaching this next Technical Machine evolution just to get this out of the deck, out of the hand. It's going to go right to the discard pile. And Henry Chow is greatly established, but only with 1 Curlia. This is still a fine position because of the Spherical Shield ability, preventing all damage and effects of attacks from your opponent's Pokemon onto your bench Pokemon. Bench protection is at a premium in the current format, and Henry Chow has opted to make cuts for this 60, and so is Michael Davidson.
This might be the opening deck search where Michael kind of realizes that he doesn't really have much to kind of work with here. Granted, that Artisan is down, and I did allude to it earlier. We can at least get another Ralt set up, but what do we do after here? We have the Screamtail ready to go. We definitely don't want to attack, but we can't just use our technical machine evolution because they're all prized here.
Yeah, just go for maybe Arven, grab some rare candy. I don't know if you want to go straight into Gardevoird from this position. As you mentioned, Emily, using just a slap for 30 damage is just giving some damage for Monkey Dory to send back over to your side. So Michael Davidson in a bit of a paralyzed position right now. Just evolves the Ralts into Curlia for now after using the Ultra Ball. Still looking in the deck, of course.
Got tons of time, right? And the name of the game for this format has been set up and holding strong, right? Trying to get yourselves out of these Ionos that brick your hand and that you can't really do much else after here. But it is going to be the Ultra Ball for the Curlia, discarding these 2 Psychic Energy here. So we try to figure out how we're going to be able to find our line to get back into it, because look at Henry's board. He's already threatening a Gardevoird EX next turn at him.
So Michael Davidson, if you can't respond with aggression, you have to respond with defense. You have to make sure you have a good foundation, so once your Pokemon start to get knocked out, you still have other Pokemon ready to go and evolve and receive those energies from Psychic Embrace. Michael Davidson, after shuffling up, is maybe thinking about some long-term ideas with Adrenabrain to start just placing damage counters onto the Rapska.
It's going to be the Iono here, going to be drawing 6 fresh cards for both players right now. See Monkey Dory, maybe even 2. I don't see another Ralts right now, but we are going to be able to continue getting set up here. Here comes that Artisan play. Presumably going to be able to find this Ralts. We definitely have to secure our board just a little bit more. And
I like it.
There it goes. But still, once again, without technical machine evolution, I really feel like this one hurts Adam.
The Ralts is nice, but without the TM Evos, too slow, as you mentioned. Just 1 energy for turn onto the Screamtail and passes it over. This is pretty much all Michael Davidson can do without the ability to accelerate this game plan. With 1 Curlia and a Ralts, Gardevoird EX can show up next turn, maybe off of the Curlia, maybe with the help of Rare Candy. And Henry Chow, you have to think about it. If you are in this position, you're looking across, oh, he didn't go for TM Evo, why is that? I guess you just whiffed on the Arven, went for Iono instead, and that's generally fine. But Henry Chow probably going to look to knock out the Monkey Dory, wants to hunt down the Screamtail, doesn't care too much about actually circumventing the Gardevoird EX.
Well, let's see. Ultra Ball is played, discarding the Nest Ball and the Darkness Energy to grab this Gardevoird EX. And I have to ask, Adam, I mean, we see Rapska on one side of the board, but we don't see it on the other here. Could we potentially be using the Screamtail that I believe that we have in hand to start playing a little bit more aggressively and maybe even pick off that second Ralts? Maybe we can find the Curlia enough. It really kind of depends. I know we have a Iono on the other side as well, but let's see how it's exactly going to fold out here. And it will be the Iono play.
We know, with our bird's eye view that Michael Davidson is kind of struggling with the lack of TM evolutions, but Henry Chow is maybe going to play a bit more respectfully, might not go aggressive here unless he feels comfortable. You have to worry about the threat of counter catcher, maybe bringing something to the active spot, maybe putting that Rapska in danger. Henry Chow might want to get a few more Pokemon like his own Screamtail, maybe 1 more Ralts in play before pulling the trigger and becoming aggressive. There's no damage in play as yet for Adrenabrain, so there's still a lot of options to move some damage over. If I was in Henry Chow's position, I might prioritize taking down the Monkey Dory.
Could be any route and line here, but once again, it's Gardevoird at the end of the day, Adam. It is just going to be going for our prime setup here. I know that Henry moving Monkey Dory to essentially the front here, where we can definitely get double dark going as well. So we can start moving Adrenabrain damage back and forth here, but double Monkey Dory, definitely exactly what you want to see here. Now I have to ask, Adam, do we even see a Mind Bend?
I wonder. You could deal a little bit of damage to Screamtail. Michael Davidson just has one Monkey Dory in play, and this is where it gets complicated. Do you want to deal damage? Do you want to move around? I know a lot of players try to set up multi-prize turns, but it looks to be a Mind Bend indeed, with a little bit of damage moved over with Adrenabrain.
It's going to be the first knockout here, Adam, going over to Henry Chow, thanks to the use of that Adrenabrain, moving 3 counters on over to the Monkey Dory, and then, of course, using that Mind Bend for knockout here. Let's see how Michael is going to be able to respond. We do have the Ultra Ball available that we could go in and find that Gardevoird EX, but do we have the attackers? But I do see something, Adam. We can definitely get rid of the Psychic Energy from this Earthen Vessel, but we have Pheasantipity in hand. We have Draw.
I wonder if Henry Chow was considering this. Okay, since I'm taking out the Screamtail, I don't mind if the Robska gets brought up with Counter Catcher and knocked out, because Screamtail was the big threat for my early game while I'm still getting set up. Michael Davidson, meanwhile, still going through the classic steps of Gardevoird, getting as much energy in the discard pile as possible, has Darkness Energy to get Adrenabrain, start sending some damage over, fixing math. Curlia and Ralts are both on the bench, ready to evolve up, and I think a Gardevoird EX response is imminent this turn. You pointed it out earlier, Emily. Henry Chow doesn't have Drifloon, so once Michael Davidson gets a larger Pokemon in play with a lot of HP, it will be much more difficult for Henry Chow to respond.
Absolutely. We are going to be seeing the Ultra Ball as well to grab that Gardevoird EX and evolve our benched Curlia here. And it all comes down to our sequencing on this one, right? We definitely have an Iono ready to go inside of the hand. We also do have Pheasantipity, but the problem is, Adam, if we were to play a little bit more aggressively, here comes some sort of counter catcher play on Henry's side to punish that. Could very well be. Let's see exactly the line right here.
Both players have to watch out for that. The responsiveness, the comeback potential that Gardevoird is known for. You have to be so precise of when you are aggressive and how much aggression you can afford. If Michael Davidson trying to respond to Henry's tempo is trying to respond with an aggressive stance, could get punished. Just a Darkness Energy attached return onto Monkey Dory, so Adrenabrain will be active. Plenty of Psychic Energy in the discard pile. Michael Davidson is going to go for Iono right away. Still hasn't found the Pheasantipity. But if this comes off of the 6 cards, a way to find the Pheasantipity, that'll be 3 more draws.
No, Pheasantipity actually Ionoed down to the bottom of the deck, Adam, just because you definitely don't want to bench anything that could be easily kind of thrown away, right?
I
so
see.
We definitely want to keep it a little bit more safer here. But speaking of playing safe, it is going to be Michael Davidson finding another Earthen Vessel here, kind of weaving the energy out of the deck, definitely playing as very meticulous and careful as possible here.
Yeah, right now Henry Chow has more threat on the board, but Michael Davidson is leagues ahead in terms of getting much more energy in the discard pile. This is going to prep for huge turns later on in the game, off of the back of Screamtail, off of the back of Drifloon.
Looking to see what the correct line of play is. Dare I say that we Mind Bend back? It feels kind of strange to send up Gardevoird to take more of an aggressive stance, but if it's one Pokemon that Michael Davidson has access to that Henry doesn't right now, it is going to be that Drifloon here.
And even if Drifloon comes out, takes an early prize, goes to the discard pile, comes right back with a Night Stretcher, you can keep relying on the single prize Pokemon to keep the trades in your favor. If Michael Davidson is going to swing, it has to be for a knockout. Can't leave any leftover damage in play, especially with Henry Chow showing 2 Monkey Dory in play.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think a lot of the times players look to kind of maximize the amount of prizes that they would take, when a lot of the times you want to be aiming for these Monkey Dories just because of Adrenabrain. Adrenabrain going to show it's just one of the best abilities in the game. Some people would say that Monkey Dory itself is one of the best cards in Standard just because we can manipulate the prize tree to go however which way we want to. Taking this Monkey Dory off the board would definitely help us out a little bit.
So use this Psychic Embrace to attach to Monkey Dory, then retreat, and then the rest are coming up onto Drifloon. What's nice about a play like this, swinging into just a 100 HP Monkey Dory, you don't have to worry about Bravery Charm, just doing a little bit of damage here to guarantee the knockout.
Single prize trade here, back and forth between our players with the Balloon Blast here.
And now they're just finalizing the math, making sure that the Adrenabrain was used properly. And now over on the prizes, Michael Davidson not going to get anything too useful for the next few turns if he keeps up just taking single prizes. Going to get another Technical Machine Evolution and maybe even another one after that. Henry Chow now saying, okay, Drifloon is here. I'm going to promote Gardevoird, and you can take an easy knockout. But the thing with Gardevoird too is, if you don't heal enough damage off of it, right, the Drifloon comes right back and takes 2 prizes suddenly. So this is pretty dangerous.
Yeah, the whole board feels very careful, right? Every decision that they're making is very, very planned and calculated here. Is that Screamtail, though? And I have to ask, Adam, if we're going to be kind of taking the same route, right? Once again, these players are playing the same 60. These players tested this list together. So could we potentially be seeing something along the lines of Roaring Scream onto the Monkey Dory, just letting the Drifloon kind of be okay here? So we'll see the Psychic Embrace onto the Gardevoird EX, retreat it out of the active spot. Here comes the Screamtail here with that 4 damage counters on here. And we can go wherever we like just because there's no reps on Michael's side of the board.
Michael Davidson suffering now. We know the Technical Machine Evolution was so important to get Curlia in play, but also can't get Rapska to protect. Screamtail goes around the Drifloon and it takes out Monkey Dory. It's much more difficult for Michael Davidson to fix math, and Drifloon waiting in the active spot. No Bravery Charm as well. So this is going to be pretty strong for Henry Chow to keep threatening these bench Pokemon and backing Michael Davidson into a corner. Attaches Technical Machine Evolution and reaches into the deck with Artisan to find a basic, brings another Monkey Dory out.
It's crazy how you can just search for Monkey Dory in so many ways inside of Gardevoird EX. Nest Ball, Artisan. I mean, it's such a powerful card here, but it is going to be the name of the game, just reestablishing how we want to carry our damage counters on over here. With double Monkey Dory, maybe we could have found a double Adrenabrain knockout for turn, for example. But still, though, I mean, we do have Professor's research in hand, so we could throw away this entire hand and, I mean, have the Darkness Energy in hand, 2 of them too, but we'll see how exactly Michael wants to kind of approach this.
Yeah, both players want to avoid that double Monkey Dory idea. It's going to be Professor's Research getting rid of a lot of resources. Another Gardevoird, another Darkness Energy, Artisan. Not too bad. The Darkness Energy, you can just get back with Night Stretcher, of course, once you recover the other Monkey Dory. Again, folks, this version of the deck only on 2 copies of that.
So this one's interesting. So we have the secret box off of the Professor's Research here, Adam. I can't tell if we want to go on ahead and kind of go full throttle here. Secret box for something like a Counter Catcher Bravery Charm, Counter Catcher maybe even the Mew EX, and kind of swing the prize trade heavily in our favor. It's definitely one line of play here, but it's hard to say what is the most optimal at this point. But, you know, Michael's thinking about it right now.
The best case scenario, right, is somehow able to finagle the Gardevoird EX into the active spot and knock that out. Henry Chow does have a Screamtail setup and can still get more attacks alongside Monkey Dory, but there's not another routes ready to go to evolve into Gardevoird and keep the Psychic Embrace going. So after Secret Box, discarding Buddy Poffin, a Mew, and what looks like a Nest Ball, is going to look through the deck. Again, Counter Catcher being pulled to the front immediately.
Yeah, the Counter Catcher onto the Gardevoird EX as well. Honestly, a much better play. Sometimes you fail to see it, but there's the Iono as well, too. I know we researched this turn already, but let's see what exact line we want to take. Definitely what we're secret boxing for here is definitely going to be this Bravery Charm and the Counter Catcher. That's the line of play here, but how kind of crazy do we want to go?
With Bravery Charm on Drifloon, goes up to 90 HP. Then we attach. Yeah, so this is where the math gets kind of hairy, folks. There's plenty of Psychic Energy in the discard pile to set this up. And I believe that Drifloon, if everything goes well, it's capped at around 300, and there is still there's 10 damage still on this Gardevoird EX, so I think the math checks out.
Gotta see here too, thinking about using the super rod as well. I mean, you definitely want to reestablish that monkey dory just in case something goes along the line of the way too. Also, having the Gardevoird EX inside of the discard pile as well. So we'll see how exactly we want to go about this. Screamtail too being eyed up as well. And here's the super rod. Let's see what we grab. Definitely the monkey dory, the dark energy, and the Screamtail here.
3 perfect targets to get back into the deck. The monkey dory and the darkness energy is so important, not just for keeping your opponent from being too aggressive, but also giving you so much threat potential to take multi-prize turns. Your opponent promotes a single prizer, well, too bad. I'm going to take 2 prizes. I'm going to take 3 prizes. And Michael Davidson looking for an extremely strong crackback against Gardevoird EX.
See how he's going to do it here. It's all about the math here. So I mean, we have all of the psychic energy inside of the discard pile. That's what Michael has done beautifully this game, right? Playing a little bit more reserved. A lot of players might have benched that Pheasantipity and gotten that card draw, but instead understanding what he's up against here. We'll see. We're going to have Drifloon go down just to 10 hit points here. We are going to be able to use Balloon Blast to take this knockout on the only Gardevoird EX in play.
Absolutely beautiful. Drifloon taking a knockout, single prizer, taking down a 2 prizer is what you always want to do with Gardevoird, but this is paying extra dividends because of that was Henry Chow's only Gardevoird EX in play. So no Psychic Embrace for this turn. Henry Chow has to rely specifically on either Monkey Dory with an attachment for turn or Screamtail. Promotes Monkey Dory right now, is looking to move some damage with the Adrenabrain to knock out the Drifloon and then try to strike back on the next Pokemon that's promoted.
Here's kind of the order of operations, right, Adam? We have to reestablish Gardevoird, right? I mean, the deck is Gardevoird EX. It's essentially our whole kind of line and battery here. We have to really kind of find our way back into it, right? We know that with our current board state, we can have Monkey Dory use Adrenabrain off of the Screamtail and take this knockout on Drifloon here. But what can we do after that? How do we find a way to secure the board without Michael Davidson kind of running away with it?
I am not quite sure. You saw that Henry Chow was hesitating to put the Pheasantipity EX in play. We know that Michael Davidson declined to put this Pokemon on the bench because it can be easy prizes for the opponent to take. So it's just going to be Pheasantipity EX and a Ralts being picked up as well in order to round out this bench.
The thing is, Adam, we got to draw some cards, right? And I think what we have to go for here is just some sort of hand disruption, finding one of our 4 Iono that we play inside of this deck here. We can absolutely countercatcher something like a Curlia, bring it forward, and then use the Adrenabrain to knock out the Drifloon onto the bench, because we do have countercatchers here. But we could also Mind Bend for the knockout, but still now Henry Chow finding another Earthen Vessel, still getting a lot of this energy out of the deck here. And the deck's really thin already. Look at that. Not too many cards left.
Yeah, and because there is no Psychic Embrace, you can't put any more damage on the Screamtail to up the damage of the Roaring Scream. So your ability to threaten the Gardevoird EX or even take on the Monkey Dory is very stunted this turn if you're Henry Chow. So after the Earthen Vessel, shuffling up the deck, picks up a Darkness Energy. The bench is full. So no second Monkey Dory coming back into play. And I think the Mind Bend is slowly coming together.
It is definitely coming to fruition as well. But thinking about just going on ahead and retreating here into the Screamtail. Could just see even a slap for knockout if we don't want to just throw some energy onto the bench, which I'm pretty sure we do, but it's just about sequencing, right? No supporter in hand here from what I can see. So it is just going to have to be whichever way Henry decides to go. I believe that's all 3 Night Stretchers in the hand.
So a lot of explosiveness on the upcoming turns, but this is the make or break moment, I would say, for this game, is recognizing how to deal with this. Just goes for straight up. Maybe it was a slap announce, I didn't quite hear, but either one will knock out the Drifloon. And Henry Chow is going to maintain just this 40 damage on his side of the board. Want to use Adrenabrain to assign that damage where it's going to be most effective. If you can't follow up on this Adrenabrain combo turn, it's better to save that damage for when it's available. Henry Chow just barely hanging on with one routes in play, so Michael Davidson can respond to try to hunt down this routes further. Both players even on prizes, so no counter catcher back on the table. And once more, folks, with this build of the deck, no boss's orders.
No, boss's orders is a thing of the past in Gardevoird EX, Adam. But here's something that's really important to note out. I think a lot of players at this point would say, hey, there's one Ralt on the bench. Let me go use my Screamtail to go attack it and take it off the board. But there is that Rapska in play to kind of protect it, and that's something that's very interesting here. Now, granted, we could definitely send some damage on over with Adrenabrain. That's something that we can do here, but that Rapska is actually coming in pretty clutch here because Henry does have the Night Stretcher ready to go.
I'm really glad that Henry Chow can play a little bit freely because both players are aware of what the deck list is, that there is no boss. And by setting things up to be even on prizes, not needing to worry about counter catcher. Michael Davidson, however, stacking up the Monkey Dories. Both now have Darkness Energy attached. Michael Davidson has solo access to the Psychic Embrace to assign Psychic Energy wherever it is needed and begin to send that damage over. Screamtail sitting at 50 HP means that double Adrenabrain will clean it up, and maybe he gets to swing with a Mind Bend or even a Miracle Force onto another target.
Well, it is going to be Professor's Research for the turn, where you're going to discard your hand and get 7 fresh new cards here. Finds the Screamtail, but once again, it's not going to be able to take out this singular Ralts here just because of Rapska's ability, Spherical Shield. So it's all about how Michael wants to play it. I mean, I think personally, just with double Monkey Dory set up, if I'm Michael, I feel pretty okay. I just want to kind of prevent my board from getting too messed up from something like an Iono here. The double Psychic Embrace here going to come on to Gardevoird EX. We'll see if he goes that route to take out the Screamtail, and he will, thanks to double Adrenabrain here. Michael is now once again on even prizes, Adam.
So now, Michael Davidson pulling ahead. 2 prize cards remaining, and Henry Chow has to take a moment evaluating the cards in the discard pile, the cards in the deck, before even deciding what to promote. There's so much tension at this point, is saying, okay, you've got the Bravery Charm here. I'm seeing Drifloon. Can I promote something with a lot of HP and try to tank through? And this is what Michael Davidson has to deal with now. Because Adrenabrain is down, Miracle Force can't reach the 210 to take down Fezandipity.
Yeah, key moment there too, right? But going to attach 2 damage counters onto that Monkey Dory thanks to Psychic Embrace and Retreat, so we can keep the Darkness Energy onto both of our Monkey Dories, bring Gardevoird EX into the active, and I think we will be seeing Miracle Force, but once again, just wanting to secure the board just a little bit more, considering using the Ultra Ball here. Maybe we got to count just a little bit about how many energies we still have left in deck.
Yeah, there's 3 assigned to the Gardevoird, and at this point, it's great. When you hit with the 190 on the Fezandipity, it's just one more Adrenabrain to clean up 2 prizes and close out the first game. So Henry Chow is backed into a corner now. It looked like he was off to a great start with Rapska, but Michael Davidson was the one to get Gardevoird EX down and have it stick, and that is the key to keep your attacks up and running.
Feels like Michael Davidson also, Adam, just has game on board here. I mean, those 2 damage counters on that Monkey Dory on the bench can easily just be Adrenabrained onto this Fezandipity. I mean, it has 190 damage on it, plus the 2 from Adrenabrain. That would actually be knockout and 2 prizes right there. The list doesn't play anything like a Turo, for example, so this just kind of feels a little bit lost here. How does Henry get back?
Yeah, Henry Chow has to now begin using all of his Adrenabrains to move damage off of the Fezandipity.
Yeah, that's true. But still, I mean, we have 2 Monkey Dories ready to go as well. We can only move 1 as of this moment here. So it can be the attach for turn here, Retreat.
Can attach for turn, retreat. Even if Henry Chow was to put together a monster combo, take down Gardevoird EX, the damage and the Darkness Energy are already prepped and ready to go on the benched Monkey Dory. Henry Chow is, of course, going to explore every possibility and fight tooth and nail to win this first game, but it is looking pretty grim.
Going back and forth, Artisan here as the choice here for Henry. Doesn't have the Night Stretcher. Maybe he does in the hand. I mean, he could grab the second Monkey Dory here. Has the Darkness Energy in hand as well.
Use the attached return onto Fezandipity, is looking to retreat that. So only 1 Adrenabrain available now. So I think that's all she wrote. Michael Davidson is just going to need to assign some extra damage and energies with Psychic Embrace in order to get some damage onto his Pokemon, and then use double Adrenabrain to move those over.
Still trying to get a sequence of things going here, but it seems like the key to the puzzle here, Adam, is just the Bravery Charm in hand onto the Pheasantipity to prevent something like the double Adrenabrain here. But maybe this will be the first time, at least this whole game one, that we're going to see a second Ralts hit the bench.
And Henry Chow trying to keep another Ralts in play means that double Monkey Dory will be off the table. Makes it harder to keep up with the damage output of Michael Davidson. So you can see very hesitant on how to commit to the line. Is this the correct way to play it? And the second Ralts does hit indeed.
See how this one is going to go down here. Has the Ultra Ball. Like we said, it seems like Bravery Charm is going to be the key to survival this turn. And speaking of Ultra Ball, we are going to be playing it. Has the Lily's Clefairy as well, just going straight into hand and hopefully hitting into Iono. If Michael Davidson decides to play it, we'll be able to just thin the hand and get what exactly he needs here.
Trying his best to thin the deck as much as possible. Is there a way to get the hand down thin? Maybe get a couple more cards off of restart. I don't think the Bravery Charm has been found just yet. Night Stretcher, of course, being used to grab a Kirlia, evolve the Ralts into Kirlia, and finally retreat. Puts the fresh Ralts in the active spot, and Pheasantipity goes to the bench. 20 HP remaining on this bird, and finally the HP is reinforced with Bravery Charm, going from 20 to 70 HP. So double Adrenabrain won't take it down.
This is such a difficult route here because it feels like Michael has to make a lot of options here. If Michael, Counter Catcher could be online for next turn here, but it's going to be passed right back on to Michael. You know that he doesn't want to just take this active Ralts. It feels like the game is right in his hands right here, but it's so difficult to decide what exactly he wants to do. I believe there's an Iono in hand if we want to then all the way down here, or maybe even a Professor's Research as well, but we'll see how exactly this one's going to go.
Yeah, even when an easy win or a very dominant board state is staring you in the face, both of these players need to play respectful, make sure they aren't jumping the gun or going too aggressive when the time isn't right. Going to be two more Psychic Energies coming from the discard pile onto Monkey Dory. And even though Henry Chow was able to buy himself a turn thanks to the Bravery Charm, that's just another repetition of Adrenabrains ready to go and increase that pressure even further. Retreating from Gardevoird first and foremost to bring Kirlia into the active spot. Okay, I like this. You want to keep the Monkey Dory as safe as you can. Adrenabrain is definitely the key to sealing your victory from this position. So 2 Psychic Energy are assigned with Psychic Brace to put 60 damage in total onto Monkey Dory, and double Adrenabrain sends it over to Pheasantipity. 10 HP now remaining on this 2-prize Pokemon, and Michael Davidson's first win in the best of 3.
And still, once again, I just have to call it out, Adam. The Rabska here is the key all to Henry Chow's board state right now. Not going to attack here, but look at Henry trying to line up what exactly he wants. Draws into the Professor's Research here, but the key is to take 3 prizes this turn, and I don't know if we have that available to us just yet, right? The Kirlia still is sitting pretty clean at 90 hit points, right? There's only 1 Monkey Dory here, so we can't send over 60 damage if we want to anywhere. It's just a matter of how do we get out of this?
Yeah, you use your Adrenabrain to take 30 damage off of Pheasantipity, so that would put it at 40 HP. And you have to take down one of the Monkey Dory is the only option to try to keep these 2 prizes up. And Henry Chow does have access to Counter Catcher, does indeed bring up the Monkey Dory. I love bringing the one with the no Psychic Energy available to it. Leave a couple of these potentially stranded. There's an attach and a retreat on Ralts, Gardevoird EX to the active spot, and now reassigning 3 Psychic Energies with Psychic Brace. That's going to be 60 damage onto Gardevoird EX, and Adrenabrain to take 30 off of Pheasantipity. This bird has been beat and battered by the brain power, and is just barely hanging on. And Henry Chow goes down to 2 prize cards remaining. Michael Davidson promotes Monkey Dory, has a Dark and Psychic Energy available, Mind Bend, and a little bit of help to take 2 prizes somewhere. There is a possibility. Time and time again, he's been foiled without the access to counter catcher.
It's all about reestablishing, right, Adam? I mean, both players tied at 2 prize cards apiece. See what the Ultra Ball can give us here. What exactly we're looking for. We're looking for this Night Stretcher, I believe. Night Stretcher to find something like Monkey Dory again, and then find the Dark Energy. And then we're going to be freely able to use something like this Psychic Embrace here. But there's so many cards in hand, and not too many cards in deck here. It's going to be the Professor's research to try and seal this game. It's going to be the rest of the cards here. There's the Night Stretcher for the Monkey Dory here, and also the Darkness Energy, and he will be able to find game 1 with double Adrenabrain onto the Pheasantipity here. Rabska prolonging, though. What a very tight game for Michael Davidson.
That was so insane. I think the break point, of course, was Michael being able to find the knockout on Gardevoird EX and really set Henry Chow behind. And if you have to take, especially in the mid game, a couple turns off, reestablishing your board, reestablishing your threats, that suddenly the Adrenabrain damage begins stacking up. Michael Davidson was the player that hesitated to put Pheasantipity EX into play, and because he knew it's a 2-prize liability. Henry Chow went back into a corner, had to draw those 3 cards to flip the script, and it sealed his fate.
Absolutely, as we're going to take a look at the replay before our players jump into game number 2 here. But once again, Monkey Dory proving to be one of the best cards in Standard for this reason alone. Truly hunting down this Pheasantipity practically the entire time here, and it just is about patience and due diligence in your prize searching and not benching down every option that you see here. But still, regardless, Michael Davidson up 1-0 could potentially be getting his regional championship that he missed out on even at the beginning of the season.
And taking down Henry Chow to do it makes this win perhaps a little sweeter. Heading into game number 2, Henry Chow is going to be hoping that Drifloon doesn't end up in the prizes, is going to still prioritize setting up Rabska, I believe. And Michael Davidson took that first win, of course, with no technical machine evolution, just evolved up the old-fashioned way. And Henry Chow, you can see really deep in the tank, racking his brain about how to play this mirror match. Was there a mistake he made? A player of his caliber is constantly reevaluating the situation. Is there some esoteric line that I can lean into to maybe take my opponent off guard and clutch a win in game 2, bring it all the way over to a game 3?
Once again, I think it's so impressive, and it goes to show that even with 3 technical machine evolutions prize, you can still play the patient game and win it all the way out here in this game number 1 here. We're going to get Michael to bring his prizes on over to the prize camp so we can actually check it out here. But for Michael going first here, I think we got a little bit of a line. We dropped a card. It's a very high stakes match, Adam. Maybe a little bit.
The cards are slippery. We already know that. And Henry Chow, starting with Screamtail, Michael Davidson beginning with Ralts and Artisan to find another.
Exactly what you want to see here as we're going to take a look in our first deck check and the prizes here. One Ralts being prized is kind of interesting when you only play 3, Adam. So we're going to at least have access to 2 of them, right? No Monkey Dories in the prizes. That Lily's Clefairy, well, yes, it's a great attacker here. No dragons in sight. We're probably not going to see it too much in this match, but a Night Stretcher, Earthen Vessel, Nest Ball, nothing too crazy, and that Arven as well. So nothing crazy on Michael Davidson's side. Honestly, I'm excited to see what he can do with a TM Evo maybe next turn.
Yeah, Henry Chow opted to go second because he's the one that wants to go for that explosive turn, getting set up with Arven, Secret Box, TM Evo, getting evolved, getting established right away. Michael Davidson looking through the deck, nothing too insane prize, which is nice. Just has to evaluate with the Artisan and also what basics are in the hand, or maybe even Buddy Poffin being in the hand, what the grab is going to be.
This one's going to be interesting, Adam, because we do have access to the Rabska line here. We can go on ahead and grab that Relor if we truly want to. Knowing that Henry Chow's not going to be swinging right away, this Ralts will be at least safe for next turn. It's really going to be prioritizing that setup, but I still think second Ralts just makes the most amount of sense. We want to be threatening Gardevoird EX at any time, and that powerful Psychic Embrace ability that just seems to be running all over the place in this meta.
Michael Davidson may be feeling confident. I didn't have Rabska set up in game number 1, and it felt fine. maybe Henry Chow, the only threat for Screamtails, right, is when the Roaring Scream is maybe hitting your Mew or your Pheasantipity. Michael Davidson might already be zeroing in on a line of using mostly single prize Pokemon in play to take away good targets for Henry Chow. Now let's back over to his sides. He's using the Artisan to look through the deck himself.
Yeah, and here comes that opening prize search as well here too. Honestly, I'm not true. I mean, the prizes aren't too bad on Henry's side here. A couple of key Pokemon with that Gardevoird EX in the prizes, the 1 of 2 copy, and once again, Drifloon just not wanting to come out of the prizes for again
Drifloon,
here. Yeah,
the
and the
lazy
bravery
balloon.
charm.
He's been putting in so much work this entire weekend. He's taken a couple games off to recuperate. The lead balloon stuck in the prizes. Low to the bottom, though, so maybe he'll get out of there for the mid-game.
I think it's also important to note, Adam, that the Bravery Charm is also in the prizes as well. Bravery Charm coming in clutch for a couple turns for Henry here too, but you definitely want to be protecting these big basic Pokemon once they hit the board here. But once again, Drifloon and Gardevoird EX, that's a 1 of copy as for right now.
It definitely feels on your opening deck search, you evaluate the prize card, see what you have. It sort of puts you on a path, right, for the rest of the game, depending on what attackers you're going to have. If you can't reliably lean into Drifloon when the time comes, because Henry Chow doesn't know that it's down at the bottom, right? It might just be his final prize card of the game. He's already thinking, okay, I'm in the same mindset of game number 1 when I didn't have Drifloon. Can I still play into that style of gameplay? Monkey Dory is the selection from Artisan, is going to try to fill up a bunch of damage, get multiple Gardevoird EX in play so that the Miracle Force and the Psychic Embrace aren't removed from play, and use Adrenabrain to take multi-prize turns.
See how it's going to go down here. I do believe that Henry has a couple of Pokemon in hand here. We see that we have, I believe that is the Rellor here too. Don't have the guaranteed technical machine evolution here, but it could just be an Iono, but no, it's just going to be a pass. No supporter played for turn here, so we're going to head back on over to Michael Davidson. Now, what we could do here, Adam, is that we could grab our Monkey Dory, get set back up again, or we can just go on ahead and grab that Rellor too. The technical machine evolution is already in hand with the darkness energy here, and it is just going to be using the technical machine evolution onto our 2 bench Pokemon, grabbing a Curlia and that Rabska again.
Seeing the Screamtail in the active spot, Michael Davidson is going to preempt this Pokemon. We weren't sure how high up the priority list the Rabska was for him, but Davidson decides to bring it into play after seeing Henry Chow's a pretty slow turn, getting just his own Rabska established. Now it's over to Henry Chow's side and opts for the Ultra Ball, discarding Gardevoird EX and Iono. Curlia is evolved up, and Henry Chow still in the same position with just 1 routes line on the bench.
Still, I mean, Adam, it goes to show that these opening turns in the Gardevoird mirror are all crucially about setup, right? No player's really going for these knockouts just yet until they feel comfortable enough that they can safeguard their board just enough with a response. Henry, though, going to be able to at least find this professor's research here and get us going. I believe he draws into the second Monkey Dory as well. So this is a great way to start securing our board here for next turn when we want to find Gardevoird EX here. We also have the Night Stretcher in hand to get that going next turn, but let's see how Michael responds here.
Yeah, Henry Chow loves to set this up. Discard a Gardevoird EX early and bring it out when the time is right with the Night Stretcher. Michael Davidson also activating Artisan after evolving all the way up to his own Gardevoird EX, and now Monkey Dory is picked up from Artisan. In game number 1, it was Michael Davidson, even though he didn't have TM Evolution, was the one to be aggressive first and foremost, and we'll see if Curlia being hunted down is the same outcome.
See, indeed here, because honestly, there's a couple of routes that we can take. There is going to be the darkness energy attached for turn, and there's Michael Davidson throwing down the Iono here. Both players are going to shuffle up and draw 6. Henry Chow needs to draw into another Night Stretcher because once again, the second Gardevoird EX is currently in the prizes, but he also draws some energy in an Ultra Ball, but that's not going to be enough to find anything. But look at Michael's hand. He finds the secret box as well, so he could start discarding some of the energy that he has in hand to keep setting up.
And what is the third discard? Ooh, plays it really slow, just passes right back, doesn't want to give up anything as of yet. I think that because there's not a good target, I don't want to just knock out the Screamtail, open up Henry Chow to draw cards off of Vezendipity, to open up the counter catcher. I'm going to wait and chill. Henry Chow now looking at Lily's Clefairy EX right now to be added into the fray. Shuffling up the deck now.
It's definitely a good attacker here. Once again, that full moon rondo, 20 base plus 20 per each Pokemon on each other player's bench here. Here we go, though. Professor's research. Big cards here. We thinned out a Pokemon so we can hopefully draw into this Night Stretcher here. But I'm seeing a lot of energy. I see a Pheasantipity, a Research, and an Ultra Ball here. Might just have to be another slow and steady turn for Henry Chow. But I don't know if I feel too bad about that with double Monkey Dory already set up.
Attaches to the Screamtail, doesn't go for TM Evolution, is keeping a routes in play, so Rare Candy Gardevoird stays on the field as an option.
I don't know about that, Adam, because once again, one of the Gardevoirs are in the prizes and the other one's in the discard pile. So there's only 2 Gardevoir in play here, but it's going to go back on over to Michael Davidson here.
Okay.
Got that secret box ready to go.
Is Henry Chow going to have to do something ridiculous like Super Rod if he can't find the Night Stretcher?
He's got to be able to find it eventually here. The secret box, though, has to discard one more card there, and it is going to be that Buddy Buddy Puffin. And now we're going to be able to use this A-Spec to grab an item, a tool, a supporter card, and a stadium out of the deck. You were alluding to it earlier, Adam. It is going to be what Henry called just the secret sauce of the deck, right? It's the best A-Spec. We could just grab whatever we want for it.
And now Artisan to pick up the second Monkey Dory. The longer that Henry Chow takes to get up off of the floor and start being aggressive allows Michael Davidson more and more leeway to get established and get more utility and threats up and running too. Earthen Vessel discards Technical Machine Evolution to get 2 more energy out of the deck. Darkness Energy being eyeballed to attach to the second Monkey Dory. Double Adrenabrain, now a huge threat. This goes around Rapska's Spherical Shield, and if this damage keeps getting sent back and forth, Michael Davidson doesn't want to necessarily take the initiative versus Henry Chow's double Monkey Dory as well. But at the same time, I think if you can, quote-unquote, force Henry Chow to use the Adrenabrain onto a specific target, maybe something that you would want him to use, sort of bait it that way, you can go for the throat and maybe begin hunting down the Curlia. And then with no Gardevoir EX, it doesn't matter if he's just sending Adrenabrain damage back at you.
But once again, Adam, it's coming into play for now both players here. This Rabska with the Spherical Shield preventing any type of early game aggression with something along the lines of Screamtail. I mean, we've had Gardevoir EX out now for, what, 2 turns, and we haven't still seen a knockout yet. It's just slow and steady wins the race, but it is going to be Arvin played here, so we can grab our Earthen Vessel and our Technical Machine Evolution here. Once again, still throttling the Psychic Energy out of the deck here into that discard pile, because that is the key to winning this as Gardevoir.
2 more Psychic Energy also entering the hand. This was a beautiful display that Michael Davidson performed in game number 1 as well. Getting so many energy in the discard pile, that means that Psychic Embrace can put so much damage into play to power up your Screamtail, to power up your Drifloon, and hit those big numbers when it's required. And this is also simply thinning the deck so that your natural draws are much better. You aren't just going to be drawing energy for the turn. Finally, Darkness Energy is attached to Monkey Dory. Technical Machine Evolution attached to Rabska, so that will be discarded at the end of the turn. And now some Psychic Energy being eyeballed in the discard pile to be assigned with Psychic Embrace.
Now it's Michael benching that Screamtail here, deciding if he wants to be the first one to start getting some damage up and running here. It is going to be the attach and the retreat. A Screamtail is going to head into the active spot. Psychic Embrace of just 2 over onto the Screamtail here, or over onto the Rabska here. So we're actually going to start targeting down the Rabska here. And now, here we go. It is just going to be a slap for 30.
And yeah, Michael Davidson is like, okay, here's 30 damage. I want you to, are you going to take the damage off of your Screamtail, or are you going to take the damage off of your Rabska, making it very awkward to use these Adrenabrains efficiently. And if Henry Chow doesn't prioritize keeping the Rabska up, then Michael Davidson can begin wearing down the Screamtail. I love this forked threat that he's come up with.
feel like we're starting to pivot into a more aggressive line now from Michael Davidson. I want to see if Henry's going to respond essentially with some of the same aggression, right? Maybe not going on in and taking a full knockout here, but starting to kind of sprinkle the damage across the board and saying, hey, here it is. Are you just going to send it back? Which Pokemon are you essentially going to heal here? Because once again, like you alluded to, Adam, Michael Davidson kind of throwing the damage out there and saying, all right, now what are you going to do here? But it is going to be the psychic embrace of the energy back now, and the damage that started on Henry Chow's board in the beginning is now on Michael Davidson's board here too.
Yeah, the Gardevoirs, the Monkey Dories, the Screamtails, they're playing their own game, and the Rabskas have a nice little tennis match going on the side now.
Go though, I mean, it is going to be the professor's research finding the bravery charm here. We saw how that was a key card last game here, but bravery charm going down. Here comes the Adrenabrain back onto the Rabska here. We're just going to be slinging the same 40 damage counters across the board. We'll see how this one's going to go. Adam, truly a tug of war here of the damage. I just love how they actually just have the same 4 damage counter dice and just like, all right, your turn. All right, your turn. All right, your turn.
And then the Screamtails are just backhanding each other in the active spot. The slap for 30, another slap for 30, and it's back over to Michael Davidson. Now, based on the back and forth, Michael Davidson is ahead thanks to this bravery charm, can knock out the Screamtail, but the Adrenabrain has to be used first to prioritize. Oh, wait a minute, a little bit of a change up.
It's going to be the Adrenabrain here to knock out here. We want to see if Michael Davidson's going to be the first one to go up 2 prizes here, or if we want to play it a little bit more reserved. Once again, the back and forth of the 40 damage was very, very funny here, but we definitely want to get it started. It is going to be another Psychic Embrace for 8 damage counters onto this Screamtail with only 80 hit points left here.
Yeah, Rabska does protect the bench, but you can still Roaring Scream the active, correct?
Yeah,
just double checking to make sure I'm remembering the fine details of this attack. You use it to snipe the bench 99% of the time, so I always forget it can attack the active.
It's so funny how we're almost looking at the same exact board on each side, right? Double Monkey Dory, both with Dark Energy attached, and what could have been double Gardevoird EX here, but honestly, Michael Davidson saying, hey, here's my play. I don't want you to do this to me next turn. I'm just going to evolve both of my Gardevoirs up now where they're safe here. We'll see how exactly it's going to go, but all I know, Adam, is that Michael Davidson is up 2 prizes, 4 prizes away from that regional champion.
And after everything, after so many cards drawn, after so many disruptive supporters, still no Night Stretcher to get Gardevoird EX. Henry Chow stashed that in the discard pile, had 2 Night Stretchers in hand and got those ripped away and hasn't been able to recover these important pieces and has been lacking Psychic Embrace. Pheasantipity, the card that sealed his fate in game number 1, has to enter the game and use Flip the Script to see 3 more, and still Night Stretcher is absent.
But you got to look at it, Adam. I mean, look at the hand that Henry's considering throwing away here. I mean, there's multiple counter catchers there, but we definitely have to start responding with some type of knockout here. So it is going to be the counter catcher onto the Rabska here, and we can only hope that this Bravery Charm onto Pheasantipity is going to help us. But look at this professor's research. 7 big cards. Can we find Night Stretcher out of just 7 cards? Let's see.
It's got to be Night Stretcher.
No, it's not.
What?
This is it again. I believe
6?
1 more card, and it's not the Night Stretcher. Henry Chow down. Still no Gardevoird EX. This match has started to kind of turn up here, Adam. I mean, I don't know what Henry's going to do this turn.
1 Gardevoird EX stranded in the graveyard. 1 Gardevoird EX stranded in the prizes. Henry Chow not able to get his maximum attackers set up, is forced to use the damage that Michael Davidson deigns to grant him with the Adrenabrain and just send it back. Can't attack on his own. Is there an attachment still for turn? I guess it's going to be Mind Bend.
I don't like this literally at all, Adam. I mean, the thing is, Rabska only has a 1 retreat cost, right? So all we have to do is use that Earthen Vessel that Michael Davidson already has in hand to grab some of that energy out of the discard pile, manual retreat, and then Screamtail is back. I mean, granted, the Rabska on Henry's side of the board is still there, but it's just going to have to be just these single prize knockouts going back and forth. I don't know how Henry's going to come back from this.
And because he can't get the Gardevoird EX evolved and into play to use Psychic Embrace, Henry Chow is forced over and over again to have a fail-safe routes, a backup routes available to evolve up. And I don't know, I guess at this point, Henry Chow is going to keep that bench space open for Drifloon, Screamtail, etc., and has to take the big risk that Michael Davidson cannot hunt down Kirlia. He's way ahead on prizes right now, so no counter catcher, no boss. Rabska chilling. It seems pretty safe as right now. Kirlia has 90 HP, so even double Adrenabrain's not going to threaten it. And Henry Chow has perhaps one more draw to find a Night Stretcher.
I don't know about all that, Adam, but we could be seeing something along the... You don't even want to do something like a Mind Bend here because Monkey Dory's double set up already. So it is just going to be the attach retreat to protect this Monkey Dory, grabbing the Ralts out of Artisan, promoting it into the active space, and then just saying, you know what, okay, it's just going to have to be this back and forth. Over to Michael's side here, he has the Super Rod to get some of the energy back into the deck so we can Earthen Vessel. This Rapska will be able to leave this active spot.
Very easily done. 70 HP, just one retreat. Double Monkey Dory. This is such a vast difference in setup and threat potential. Michael Davidson finally takes his draw for turn.
Doesn't even need to Super Rod, Adam. He just drew the energy to retreat the Rapska right then and there. We'll see how exactly we want to go here. This is just so intense. It just feels like Henry doesn't have too many options here. And look at Michael's side of the board. Double Monkey Dory already set up with two Gardevoird EXs in play. The deck is looking super thin on both players' side, but not thin enough for Henry Chow to find his only one of his Night Stretchers, to find his only Gardevoird that he has access to.
Michael Davidson has put so much energy in the discard pile. It was all Henry Chow could hope for, that he didn't have another one available to retreat the Rapska. Discards the energy out of hand with Earthen Vessel to pull the final from the deck and attach and retreat. Screamtail now in the active spot. We'll see where he wants to assign this damage with Adrenabrain.
Going to be back over onto our favorite target of the match, and it is going to be this Rapska, but we're only putting one damage here to prevent something along the lines of a potential, you know, reverse return knockout with something like an Adrenabrain and even something like a Mind Bend. But here we go. It is going to be Henry finding his secret box here. Look how many cards there's left in deck. I mean, they're both Night Stretchers are just at the bottom, Adam. That's just gotta hurt.
Yeah, draws the secret box, but it's going to exact a heavy toll from his hand at this point just to go in and grab Night Stretcher for Gardevoird EX. Even uses the Earthen Vessel to discard Arven because you want to use Iono as your supportive return. And after all this is done, because the deck is so thin, it does guarantee drawing 6 and getting Night Stretcher.
Yeah, it's just not safe to discard anymore, Adam. I mean, Henry barely has any cards left. We're going to just have to go back-to-back Ionos at certain points here, too. Henry going to check out Michael's discard pile here. I mean, like you said it correctly. I mean, we're going to see a Gardevoird EX here, but it's a matter of the lines and the routes that Henry's going to be able to take. If he can take 6 prize cards before Michael only takes 3.
It's going to be a lot of multi-prize turns. Henry Chow looking pretty defeated right now. He needs to continue to believe in himself and find the line. Michael Davidson sitting pretty at 1 up here in the Portland Finals. But after a little bit of damage assigned onto Gardevoird thanks to Psychic Embrace, going to move the damage over with the Adrenabrain. Screamtail still has plenty of HP because of the Bravery Charm. Just gets knocked out with Miracle Force.
See what we're going to respond with now. We do have a professor's research in the hand if we are Michael here. So honestly, could we just see something along the lines of using Drifloon this turn to take 2 prizes and then hunt something down using the Monkey Dory double Adrenabrain here? It's so hard to say here. There's the Ultra Ball here, but I think we want to see as many cards as possible right now, trying to eye up what is in store here. I really think Drifloon might be the play, Adam. What do you think?
That is the game-ending play, certainly, Emily. After the struggle that Henry Chow went through in order to get this Gardevoird EX into play, he has to use it as his attacker for turn.
finds the bravery charm too off of the professor's research here. It is going to be that Drifloon coming into play, and now we are fully able to use not only just our Drifloon with the bravery charm to get this knockout, but we can continue setting up this board all the way through. Finds the Ralts as well, just in case of something like an Iono. We can still guarantee we get what we want out of here. See how it's going to all play out. Here's the bravery charm onto the Drifloon, and that will be a concession from Henry Chow and Michael Davidson. He lost his first regional finals appearance in Louisville. He will be able to take the final regional of the season here in Portland. It is an amazing showing of what Gardevoird EX can do. Congratulations to Michael Davidson.
Crowning himself the new Gardevoird Master by taking down the 3-time regional champion, Henry Chow. I don't know if there was another line that could have been taken by Henry based on those abysmal prize cards, but this will be a match that still needs to be studied. Well played by both players across the entire weekend and into the finals.
It's such a shame. How many turns did we go without a Night Stretcher, Adam? I mean, the Gardevoird EX and the prizes, the Gardevoird EX in the discard pile just sitting there waiting. But once again, both of these players playing the same exact 60 here. So they're going over what happened in this match. So let's go over this match ourselves as well here in the replay as we recap Portland here, just to kind of not off the end of our season, but my goodness, it was a battle of damage counters back and forth. It was so exciting to watch.
You knew it was going to get complicated, but it was really down to trying to adapt to what was in the prize cards, what you had access to at the moment. Rabska played a small role, forcing Screamtail to just attack active Pokemon, but the back and forth was real. Drifloon being able to knock out Gardevoird was the key to Michael Davidson's victory in game number 1 and at the finals of game number 2. Responding there, taking the knockout. I loved this back and forth with the Adrenabrain and Henry Chow trying to respond, keeping his Rabska up, keeping the Vezendipity alive as much as possible. 40 damage, 40 HP left on this bird with the Bravery Charm, and all the damage was assigned to take the final 2 prizes.
What an amazing showing of what this list can do too. And Rabska showing why right now, I mean, bench barrier feels just so good here. I mean, that Vezendipity stayed alive as long as possible here before getting knocked out. And it was just at the end that this was the heartbreaking whiff that did it all, Adam. Unable to find that Gardevoird EX, unable to swing the game even remotely close back into his favor, and it is going to be Michael Davidson here winning it all and being able to get himself a Worlds invite, even though he's already number 7 on the North American leaderboard.
Yep,
that feels pretty good.
Henry's plot armor. For every Iono that your opponent just top decks the boss anyway, sometimes there's an Iono that just deals critical damage. You send that key card down to the bottom of your opponent's deck, and they aren't going to be able to find it. Huge congratulations to our top 8 here in Portland.
Yeah, amazing things and amazing showings as well. Honestly, I loved seeing Terrabox kind of come back